Hello again, welcome back to the Ultimate Piano Course by Joseph N. In this video, we're going to discuss rhythm practice drill number 7. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. One thing to note for all of these exercises, especially as they get more difficult moving on, is that we should always be prepared for what comes next and as early as possible. An example of this would be line number 3. If we look at the music on line 2, the counting is not very difficult compared to what we've been doing thus far. But as we get to line 3, we can see things get more hectic. So we should take as much time as possible at the end of line 2 to be prepared for what comes on line 3. So do as much of your counting as you can in advance while you're playing the material on line 2. On top of that, we always want to be able to push our limits when we do these rhythm exercises. A tempo of quarter note equals 80 is a good solid tempo, but if we push our limits with enough practice, we can go to a higher tempo. So for today's exercise, we're going to do quarter note equals 90. So I'm going to set up my metronome, and we'll go from the beginning. There we go, there's exercise 7 at a higher tempo of quarter note equals 90. So that's something we're going to be doing for a lot of our exercises now. Now, for places to look at, I mentioned line 3 at the beginning of the video, and that still rings true as it being a tougher section. If we look at measure 9, we'll see we have 4 eighth notes and 2 quarter notes. So that gives us a rhythm of 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Measure 10 has the same notes, so it'll be the same rhythms, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, but the first and the 2 are going to be tied together. So they're 2 eighth notes tied together, that makes a quarter note. In measure 11, we can see what that rhythm would look like if we had gotten rid of the tie and instead written in the quarter note. So we will have 1 and 3, 4. And in measure 12, the beat 3 quarter note is now split into 2 eighth notes, so we have 1 and 3 and 4. Another place to look is the last 2 lines. Here, we see many quarters, eighths, and dotted quarter notes, giving us various different rhythms. At the second to last line, the first 3 measures are the most tricky ones here, so let's take a look. The first measure is a quarter, eighth, and then another quarter again. So that gives us a rhythm of beat 1 and. The eighth note will come in on 2, the next quarter will be and 3, the eighth note will be and then the final quarter note will be 4 and. The next measure is exactly the same, quarter, eighth, quarter, so we'll have 1 and, 2, and 3, and then 4 and again. The third measure, we have quarter, eighth, so we'll have beat 1 and, 2 and, 3 for the eighth note, and 4 for the quarter note, and then and for the eighth note. On the last line, we now have quarter, quarter, eighth, dotted quarter. So we'll have 1 and, 2 and, 3 for the eighth note, and then and 4 and for our dotted quarter note, because it is 3/8 notes. The second measure is a dotted quarter, eighth, and then a half note. So it'll be 1 and 2, and for the eighth note, and then 3 and 4 and for the half note. Measure 3 will have 1 and 2, and for the first eighth note, 3 for the second eighth note, and 4 and for the final dotted quarter. And in the last measure, we'll have 1 for the first eighth note, and 2 for the first quarter note, and for the next eighth note, and then 3 and 4 and for the final half note. Again, plenty of practice, plenty of repetitions, and now let's increase our tempo to quarter note equals 90 for these exercises. And I'll see you in the next video.